I will call the district budget hearing and annual meeting to order. That is item 1. Item 2, election of chairperson.
I will nominate Vicky Kappa to be the chairperson of the Viroqua Area Schools 23-24 annual meeting.
Second.
No second is needed, but you can make a motion to close the nomination.
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second it.
We need to vote on that, or is it just done? I can't remember.
You need a paper copy.
It doesn't say.
Okay,
Yeah.
motion, you do not need to vote on that.
Item A, introduction of parliamentarian Olivia Lewis. Thank you for joining us. And item B, will designate district clerk to keep official minutes. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
Item 3, reports, and no action will be needed to approve these reports. A is the treasurer's report.
And the treasurer's report, total district receipts, we had $25,139,664.91. And how that is broken out is local property taxes were $6,370,680.86, which is 25%. State sources, $10,617,619.27 for 42%. Federal sources were $2,870,816.81 for 11%. Other sources added up to $5,280,547.97 or about 21%. And then we had district expenditures of $30,758,787.21. And that consisted of salaries and benefits of $14,622,702.39. And that was 48% of our expenditures. Purchased services was $3,975,301.69, or about 13%. Supplies and capital objects was $10,028,339.19 for about 33%. Debt service was $1,767,004.30 for 6%. And then insurance and other costs added up to $365,439.64, or about 1%.
Item B, clerk's report. Robert.
Okay, 2023-2024 clerk's report. We had some retirements. Excuse me. Nan Oldenburg after 5 years. Lori Lomas, 27 years. Weston, 27 years. Lee Hanson, 29 years. Julie Fergut, 31 years. Jackie Sainer, 35 years. And Kathy Thorne, 37 years. As you can see, a lot of seniority there that we've lost through retirement. 23-24 new scholarships given in memory of Don and Marilyn Austin, Gretchen Austin Parker, Jack Fitzpatrick, Daniel Hanson, Douglas Hanson, Roland Hill. Total scholarships for the class of 2024 were in excess of $146,000, and we thank those who sponsor those scholarships for our students. Yeah, education for donations. The board was pleased to accept approximately $69,000 in donations during the 23-24 school year. The Viroqua community continues to provide additional support to our students through contributions from clubs, parent organizations, local businesses, and individuals. The board wishes to express their thanks and appreciation for this generosity in support of our students and programs. We have a new mission, vision, and strategic plan. The mission is nurture excellence, unlock potential, ignite passion. Vision, empower every student to discover their possibilities and thrive. Values, compassion, innovation, integrity, and perseverance. In November of 2022, voters of our district approved 2 capital referendum questions totaling $20,500,000 to expand and improve our career and technical education facilities, improve traffic flow and security throughout the district. We also address Americans with Disability Act, accessibility requirements, and added additional classrooms. We are currently in the building phase with construction estimated to be completed in January. Again, our school board and administration are appreciative of the community support of our schools and students. An upcoming referendum is being placed on the November ballot, and because in August, the board passed a resolution providing for a referendum election on the question of the approval of a resolution authorizing the school district budget to exceed revenue limit by $1.3 million per year for the next 3 years for non-reoccurring purposes. This question again will be on the November 5th ballot. The board info, we continue to do data workshops based upon our strategic plan, and Menti is big on this week. Workshop topics including board legislative linkage, strategic planning, board calendar, annual board development evaluation, and developmental training, future and career readiness, school pride, business leader linkage, and community survey results. In April, Vicky Kappa, Kim Little, and myself, Robert, and I were elected as board members. Spotlight and education topics include middle school, the book club, JAMS E2 field trip, esports, second grade community visits, MS Adaptive PE Peer Buddies Program, Library Council, Orton Gillingham fourth grade heritage, Orton Gillingham, fourth grade heritage projects, in the state capitol field trip. And that concludes the clerk's report.
And Steve, District Administrator's report.
Yeah, mine's gonna be a little bit shorter. I hope you're okay with that, Robert. You know, as a lot of what I have in my report, Robert also touched on again when we talk about the November 2022 referendum. You know, the big three of that referendum was safe and secure entrances. And as some of you came in that way tonight, you can see we are getting to that point where we have that update in place, ADA updates. So for our students and staff with any physical difficulties getting through the building, specifically this building, as it is built on so many levels. And then renovating and expanding that tech ed wing. And so the majority of the projects are done. We are still, I'm not sure the right word. We still have some pieces, some office spaces for our counselors that we need to finalize some glass within some windows and things along those lines. But the majority, the bulk of the main part of the projects are completed. The tech ed wing, as we knew, is not done and won't be done yet until around that November timeframe. So we're on pace for that. We are on time and are slightly under budget right now, which is a good thing compared to most projects. So as you can see also in my report, I gave an update on the strategic plan. I don't need to go into that. The last piece, and we are working on doing a better job at celebrating. We are, and I'm so very proud of our staff and our students for earning many pieces of recognition. But this year, you know, to be named a top 100 school district in the state of Wisconsin is incredible. And then to have each of our eligible schools place in the US News top schools is a feat that is pretty incredible. And so it's not something that I've seen and doing a little bit of research because I am a little bit competitive with other districts, and it's not something I've seen and not something I could find on at least in our area. We've got a lot of schools that qualify, but not all of the eligible schools from a single district. And so I'm very, very proud of all of our staff and our students for the work that they're putting in. And so again, a little shorter than Robert's, but hope you'll be okay with that.
I tried to do part of your job. I'm waiting for part of it. So
There you go.
All right, thanks, everyone. Item 4, minutes of September 18th, 2023, 2022-23 annual meeting. Do I have a motion?
I move to accept the 2022-23 annual meeting minutes.
I'll second.
Item 5, presentation of proposed budget and other post-employment benefit trust annual report.
All right, bear with me, this is the first time I'm doing this, so, I will, stumble through this the best I possibly can here. We're working on page 20, that's kind of where we're starting in your packet, if you've got one. This is this budget was published in the Vernon County Times, and has been previously board approved. As you kind of look at the report here, structure of it, off to the right-hand side is the budgeted numbers for preliminary budgeted numbers for 24-25. The middle being our estimates, best estimates for where things are going to fall for last year. We're still waiting on our final audited numbers there. And then our audited numbers from 22-23. So again, like I said, we're going to be working in that right-hand column on the budget side and just kind of review these numbers. Our fund balance, expected fund balance at the beginning of our 24 fiscal year, $3,790,538.37. That is with an ending balance of $3,440,538.37. The reduction, you can see as we look at total revenues, budgeted revenues are $16,693,551. And then total expenditures is $17,043,551. So we are our expenditures are exceeding our revenue. This has been the case for the last few years. Board has approved these this budget, and our fund balance is still in good shape. So in reviewing the revenue side of things, so what makes up that about $16.7 million through local sources, basically property taxes here. So that's $4,576,522 is the total there. Again, large portion, bulk of that's through property taxes. Our due from other school districts is $1,063,110, and that's largely our open enrollment income that we will get from other districts. Working down here, so state sources. Total $10,033,163. The bulk of that being our state general aid of $8,778,869. And then our other revenue, which the bulk of that is our per pupil aid within that number. Federal sources total $691,721. You can see our special project grants numbers much lower than previous years. That's due to ESSER funds falling off of the budget for this year. And then our Title I budget is $254,546 for 24-25. Remaining sources of revenue here on page 21 are other financing sources. We're budgeting $309,000 in compensation for fixed assets. That's going to be what we're expecting to get from bus sales from this year, as we're continuing our bus purchase program where we buy 5 every year, and then we're also selling our older units, so that's what we're expecting to get there. And then a few other minor revenue sources. All that totals is $16,693,551. Expenditures total is $17,043,551. the large portion of that obviously is our cost for curriculum and other support sources. And then in the non-program transactions, that 2,376,389. That's the open enrollment out that we pay other districts plus voucher payments as well. Move down to the special projects fund. So that's funds 21, 23, and 29. Fund balance there. We're not projecting much in the way of revenue and expenditures in that space, and with an ending fund balance of $329,235.23. So page 22 in our special education fund. This is fund 27. You'll see the fund balance on the top there. We are required for fund 27 to not carry a balance going forward. On the revenue side of things, total revenues are $2,878,390. Large portion of that is this our transfers in, which is a transfer from our general fund to cover special education expenditures that are not covered through state and federal sources. That transfers $1,708,285. State sources, we're budgeting $700,000 in state categorical aid. Federal sources include our IDEA grant funds of $347,105, and our Medicaid revenue of $115,000. Page 23, and expenditures in fund 27. Again, the bulk of this is special education curriculum and services, and a small amount there in non-program transactions for some outside services that we contract. Our debt service funds are fund 38 and 39. Fund 38 is debt service that was not approved through referendum, and 39 is that which was approved through referendum. These are the funds used to service our debt. Total fund balance there, ending fund balance of $1,332,715.15. Total revenues of $1,838,875, and then our expenditures total $2,329,391, with the large portion of that being our payments for our long-term debt of $2,149,375, which is largely from our capital referendum from 2022. Jumping down to the capital projects funds. So this is funds 41, 46, 48, and 49. This is where we carry the funds from the bond proceeds that we're paying for up above in the debt service side. And these are the funds that are used to pay for the capital projects that have been occurring here over the last year plus. You'll see that our beginning fund balance of $13,497,864.68. We're projecting that to zero out this year as we move through the completion of the capital projects. The total amount on that sort of support services line matches our total expenditures of $13,497,864.68, which as I mentioned is the remainder of the funds from the bond proceeds, and those will cover the remaining balance of Myron Straw schedule. The moving on to page 24 here, food service is fund 50. You'll see here that we are budgeting for expenditures again to exceed total revenues this year as we have in years past as we work towards lowering this fund balance, which has been a recommendation from the DPI. We've got an ending fund balance of $86,439.34 with $560,000 in projected revenue and expenditures of $759,468. Moving on to Fund 80, our Community Service Fund. This is the area in which we help fund the operations of the Bigley Pool and the ELC. We're projecting revenues of $1 million here, which includes operating revenue and our Fund 80 levy. And then total expenditures of $967,500. And see here this $230,000 non-program transactions. That is a transfer to Fund 38 to service the debt that we have on the ELC. Then last set of funds here is our packaging cooperative funds, 91, 93, and 99. This will actually balance zero out here. Won't be $100 left in that account. Total revenues in this area are $211,944, with total expenditures of $211,000 will be $944 for instruction and support services in these areas. We'll move on to the property tax levy now. We are projecting a total school levy in 24-25 of $6,666,397, and a projected mill rate of $7.70. Please note that the equalized value used is the equalized value from last year. We will get our new equalized value number starting on October 1st of this year. We did see a 11.7% increase in 23-24 to our equalized value compared to 22-23. And we do expect that number to increase again this year. And the main reason for that is increases in property value due to inflation. When we look at the effects on equalized value, you can also add to your tax base through new construction. But generally, net new construction rates throughout the state are at a relatively normal level, whereas inflation continues, even though it's cooled off a little bit, to have a greater effect on that number. As such, it is important to make sure that we look at the actual dollars involved with the school levy. So that $6.6 million figure, that's a $317,416 increase from the prior year. Working down from the top in the variance column there, you can actually see that we're projecting to levy less for the general fund. We have an increase in the debt service fund that we levy for. That's due to the payments on the increased balances that we've got on our debt service as it relates to the capital referendum. And then a decrease in the community service fund levy as well of $135,132. So that $317,416 increase constitutes 5%. Our mill rate of $7.70 is a 37-cent increase prior year, which is also 5%. Following pages do kind of show a graphical representation of our first our anticipated revenues and expenditures. You can get a sense of where, our revenues come from, property taxes, state aid, and then, other smaller sources. And then on the expenditure side, we're, anticipating have, our 23-24 expenditures to, include $7,069,077 in salaries, 3,087,876 in fringe benefits, and a little bit larger increase in our purchase services over the prior year as well. Graphs on 26 and 27 show our projected, first one showing our projected September membership. Our pupil count is scheduled to be this Friday. So this number, the 1,033, is going to change. That's just a projected number at this point. As a reminder, that does affect our state aid. So the state equalization aid, again, this is an estimate, the 8,778,869 through our budget modeling software. That number we will get a final number for on the 15th of October of this year as well, in advance of setting our mill rate for the coming year. The back page here shows the change in our mill rate. You can see that largely those changes are the result of inflationary changes to our equalized value. And then also the effects of some of our programs, but largely just the equalized value piece of it. Then moving on to our other post-employment benefit trust annual report. So over the years, the district has put money aside to help pay for employees after they retire. Currently, as of July, I guess as of July 1st of 2023, that plan held assets and investments totaling $1,924,898.99. As we have in prior years, you can see that our net contribution receivable is zero. So essentially what that means is that our contributions to that fund equal our expenditures. 23-24 was a good year from an interest and change in value perspective, adding $239,767.43. The funds dispersed are, like I said, the match the contributions, those expenditures plus the fee cost, which is the $7,459.39. So the ending value as of June 30th, 2024 is $2,157,186.
Item 6, hearing on proposed budget.
So these numbers won't be final until the 15th of October.
15th of October, and then we will typically we've had to schedule a board meeting in between there. Our Monday meeting is the following Monday, so should be our typical meeting should be just fine. Versus it happens once every maybe 3 or 4 years where we kind of line up. We don't have to do special meeting to certify the levy.
I, Robert, and I move to approve a resolution to authorize the Board of Education to establish the tax levy up to the full amount allowed under the state imposed revenue limits as is necessary to support the district.
Right, item 8, new business, set salaries of school board members. Motion.
Yeah, I'll move that the Board of Education salaries be reinstated salaries as of 23-24 school year. President 2020, Vice President 1,600, Clerk 1,900, Treasurer 1,780, and members 1,600.
I second that.
Item B, authorization of board members' expenses.
I can move the Board of Education members be paid in this actual and necessary expenses and traveling, the performance of duties of board members and reimbursement for any actual loss of earnings not to exceed $75 per day when required by these or the duties as a board member to be absent from the service of regular employment.
Thank you. Item C, authorization of disposal of surplus school property.
I move that the Board of Education be authorized to sell any property belonging to and not needed by the school district.
And item D, set the annual meeting date or authorize the board to set the 2024-25 annual meeting date.
I move that the Board of Education be authorized to set the annual meeting date for 2024.
Thank you. And the last item, other new business, the electors are explicitly authorized by law to discuss during the annual school district meeting. Anything?
I mean, it's anybody.
Anyone?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, vote by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
7:33, is that correct?
Thank you.